watching paint dry would have been a lot more enjoyable than actually sitting through Owen Wilson's new fan fiction about the legend Bob Ross, Paint. Now, there are a lot of things that went wrong with this film. Pretty much everything went wrong. Let's discuss Owen Wilson's new movie, Paint. One of the big pieces that could have made this film work for me would have been casting. I think this is miscast. Owen Wilson is a great actor, but he did nothing to disappear in this character except lower his voice one register and cover his actual hair with a cosplay fro wig. That's not enough. The days of the Brat Pack getting by on comedy alone without really showing up. I mean, a lot of the films that he did, the comedies he's done, he was amongst friends. The chemistry was a large part of it. And they didn't necessarily have to dig deep, do a deep dive of their characters. They were having fun. Wedding Crashers, Night at the Museum. But here, I think, especially if it's a fan fiction or it's following the life or an idea of what they think Bob Ross's life would have been like, there's so much they could have tapped into, and they chose this. Owen Wilson plays a painter, an instructor, a PBS host named Carl Nargle, again, who's fashioned after a caricature of Bob Ross, the legend Bob Ross. Carl Nargle is from Vermont. Vermontans have a distinct accent. All you hear is Owen Wilson's Dallas accent, his Dallas drawl, that southern drawl. And you don't see this character he's supposed to be. You only see and hear Owen Wilson. He in no ways even attempts to disappear. And I wish this film was as funny and memorable as Wedding Crashers and Night at the Museum. It's not. That's another mistake. They have so many jokes. This is supposed to be a comedy. There are so many jokes that are hurled and they fall so flat. Like, it is not funny. Every single joke falls flat. The screenwriters even found a way. You'd never think it were possible. They found a way to make comedian Wendy McClendon Covey unfunny. And there's so much dead air between jokes, as if they were begging for the laugh, and that is a big mistake. Flashbacks are overused, and they're used to a degree that it's a large part of the story. So much is told in flashbacks, and those flashbacks are so irrelevant and inconsequential to the larger story. They were so unnecessary. And then worse, they used de-aging that was so grainy in texture, and it flashes back to a time you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you are, and then it jump cuts back to present day, and you don't even know what time this is. I mean, they say things like Uber, like, it's somewhat current, but he is like a fish out of water, so to speak, but it's not a fish out of water comedy. He is living in the 70s, it seems. He's living or stuck in the 70s and 80s, but that's not how the story really unfolds. And it continues on and on and on without explanation. You don't know what time you're in.
I think what Paint was supposed to be about, what they were intending to convey, was the unraveling of this genius painter whose star was declining, who had a 30-year career as this stalwart genius painter, not just in his small town of Vermont, but really around the country, who was adored by millions of people. His star was fading, and he was running out of people who loved him. I think that's what this, at the heart of it, at the core, was supposed to be about, but it just got lost and so discombobulated in what they thought the audience was going to respond to. I think they failed in that regard. I think the property deserved better. Making him a womanizer, someone who's time trapped in this one period of time in the 70s when he was beginning his career. I think that's where most of this got lost, and it kept flashing back because it ran out of genuine ideas to tell the story, specifically in the second second act, where a lot of writers do get lost. That 60-page chunk of ideas got lost, and that is where I think this film falls completely apart. I mean, crash lands.
And then, like, it's released to theaters. That's probably the biggest head scratcher. This should have gone straight to streaming. This feels like it was a dress rehearsal that it should never have been filmed. This is not a good movie. This is one of the worst films of the year, and it's undoubtedly one of Owen Wilson's worst films ever. It felt like it was thrown together and unintentional. They don't commit to the story. They don't commit to the time. They almost don't even commit to the setting. Who is this film for? Who is supposed to pay in this economy? Who's supposed to pay to see a movie like this that is undone and uncommitted and unintentional and unfunny? They make him a womanizer, and he doesn't even commit to that, and he gets cheated on, and so he ends up womanizing this young woman and these other women that he works with. I mean, it's just like workplace harassment's going on. It's just a big old mess. I don't know why they greenlit this film. This film was so unready. This was not ready, not only to be filmed, this was not ready to be released. The script is all wrong. I'm so disappointed. This film is etched, permanently etched on my worst films of 2023. Trust me when I tell you, Pain is not a good movie. But if you want to take a chance, it's playing in theaters now.